my beautiful souls. Welcome to another show on Living Naturally with Michaela Live, where we talk about all things for living a naturally healthy life. I'm your host, Michaela, naturopath, integrative wellness, and mind-body connection specialist. Today, we'll be diving into the incredible topic that resonates deeply with so many of us, the power of ritual, ancient practices for modern living. In a world that feels more chaotic and disconnected than ever, rituals offer us an anchor, a way to pause, reconnect, and realign with what matters. Whether it's a simple morning routine, a daily meditation, or something rooted in ancient traditions, rituals have the unique ability to ground us, foster healing, and even empower us to step into our fullest potential. Joining me for this transformative discussion is someone who knows the true power of rituals, Patricia Peters. A self-proclaimed modern shaman, a board-certified holistic psychotherapy practitioner, and the founder of Women Unlimited International. She has guided thousands of women towards freedom and fulfillment through ancient wisdom and science-backed approaches. So together we'll explore how rituals bridge the gap between ancient and modern, how they can empower and heal, and most importantly, how you can begin integrating these practices into your daily life. So grab a cup of tea, take a deep breath, and let's dive into the timeless wisdom of rituals. This is a conversation you don't want to miss. All right. So, Patricia, happy to have you with me again today. For those of you just tuning in, Patricia is one of my recurring expert guests, and she will be joining me each fourth Friday of the month. So if you like the discussions that she and I have, it usually, is going to be something that's like soul impact kind of stuff. Feel free to join us each fourth Friday. You can catch some of the other shows on some of the other Fridays, but she's usually here on the fourth Friday of the month. So, all right, Patricia, let's just jump in here because you and I are both super duper excited about this particular subject. But before we jump in, I'd like to start by just kind of helping people in the audience kind of frame this whole idea about rituals and, particularly from a mind-body connection aspect, because that's kind of, my thing from the naturopathic point of view. A lot of people think of rituals as, being, like this, like we were talking about earlier about this, dancing around the campfire and, doing this and doing that. And it's like this really weird, kind of things. But ritual isn't that. So many of my clients, I start talking about this kind of stuff and it's like, oh, that's too woo for me. And they immediately turn off. And it's not even woo. Some rituals can be woo, but for the most part, rituals aren't. And so I'm challenging everyone to kind of change what they think about rituals. And we're going to be coming at it from both a modern and ancient aspect. But I challenge everyone to think outside the box, not think of it as something woo, but actually think about it as something that you can do in your daily life that can actually help you in many, many ways. So before we jump in, I just wanted to kind of give everyone just kind of like a little lesson, in the mind-body connection and how rituals can play into that. So the mind-body connection itself is a way that our thoughts, emotions, and beliefs directly influence our physical health. And when we experience stress or emotional challenges, that kind of thing, those feelings can become stored in the body and often lead to things like tension, fatigue, and even physical pain. So, you think about it, when you're super stressed, sometimes you get like that tightness between your shoulder blades, it's like you're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. That's how that mind-body connection works. The things that you're feeling on the emotional front of things can affect your physical. And when it goes on and on, those physical pains can lead to other things like symptoms and disease and all that kind of stuff. That's the reason why I'm always harping on this whole mind connection. And rituals themselves can help with that because consistent rituals create a space for us to release that stress and release those trapped emotions. And by engaging in intentional practices like deep breathing and meditation and even journaling, which are in fact rituals, we can activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which calms the body and the mind. And this allows us to process emotions in a safe and structured way and prevents them from building up and manifesting in other physical symptoms. In essence, rituals are like regular emotional tune ups. They help us release what no longer serves us and makes room for greater peace, clarity, and balance in our life. So that's my little lesson on the front end of this. So, all right, so let's just jump in. I'm going to I'm going to let Patricia here have a little bit of leeway here. I'm going to let her kind of start off because she's, being being the modern shaman, she has a lot more of this whole ritualistic aspect of things. And so the first thing I'd like to talk about is in our modern life, we do see more people that are turning to rituals themselves, okay, whether they realize it's a ritual or not. Okay. So why is it that you think that people are turning to rituals as a way to navigate our fast-paced modern world?
Okay, so first of all, thank you so much for the nice reframing you did. And you really you took some words out of my mouth.
Well, that's okay. You can go ahead and say it again. Repetition, which we're going to talk a little bit about repetition too. So yeah.
So yes, of course. It's so important to know it's not that we don't have any rituals in modern life. In fact, our daily life is packed with rituals. The only thing is that usually we call it, for example, our morning routine or evening routine, or we call it a habit or any kind of automated action or autopilot or whatever. So we are not necessarily aware of what a ritual is or not.
Yeah.
And also because rituals, they cover such a huge wide field. It's from prancing around, or in the very, very ancient times, even sacrificing ritual, to modern ritual, like, for example, in the way each culture or nation greets each other. So, for example, here we usually shake hands, which is a ritual.
Right.
Some people, they kiss to the cheeks.
Yeah.
And even there are differences. So some nations, they do 2 kisses, some do 3 kisses. And all of this is a ritual. So but there are some things that are basically that are part of each and every ritual, no matter if it's ancient or if it's modern. So one important thing is that rituals, they talk to our innermost primal aspects of our subconscious mind.
Yeah.
So, and those are realms of our, some call it soul, some call it psyche. Don't get hung up on words, but that's part, or brain function. Those are the parts that with our logical minds, we can't access them. And that's also a reason why rituals, if designed carefully and with a good intention, because they also can do a lot of harm, but we are talking about the positive side today. And because they address these real, deep, primal, innermost, most ancient aspects of ourselves, they can do so many empowering things. They can give us comfort. They can serve as a guideline to navigate social interaction. For example, like the greeting, you feel, so when you meet someone and you have the same routines, you immediately feel, oh, this is we are kind of kindred souls, or you have something in common you do not need to talk about. So this gives us safety. Another thing that basically all rituals cater to is they somehow connect our subconscious mind, our deepest, innermost feelings, be them positive or negative, with some kind of higher power.
Mhm.
So the higher power can be your boss or political or priests, or can be the intangible higher powers, can be your own higher powers in terms of your creative mind. So they serve kind of a translation and connection
Mhm.
between them. And well-designed rituals usually they give you some kind of comfort, some kind of, so they cater to our one of the most important needs we have, which is safety and security and belonging.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you look at it from an anthropological aspect, evolutionary aspect, those belonging, those needs, when they were fulfilled, they granted our survival.
Yeah.
And in modern day life, we have so many threats, as in stress, not the threats like the tiger behind us, yeah,
Yeah.
but things like threat, like stress, like overwhelm, like deadlines, like overstimuli of our nerves with all the digital consumption and stuff like that. So our soul is yearning for this comfort, for this belonging, for this safety. And this is what rituals are very, 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 very good and beneficial for us. So it's
Yeah.
kind of coming back to our souls, even, you know.
Yeah.
So, and some people, if they are more on the romantic side or even on the woo side, they even can feel some kind of magic around it, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for that deep dive into rituals and the anchoring in the modern world. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I think it's very important, as started saying, for people to realize that rituals are not necessarily what we think they are.
Mhm. Yeah.
And they
Yes.
can be a good thing. Like you said, there's
Mhm.
some negative, but it
Yeah.
can be a good thing when used with the right intention.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that's pretty much what we're here to talk about today,
Mhm.
which, is going to bring me to the next point, and it's about how um, rituals can actually contribute to our healing,
Mhm.
both emotionally and physically. What I said when we first started about the whole body mind connection, it's very important for us to remember that our minds and our bodies are totally connected in
Mhm.
every way.
Mhm.
And that's one of the things that I am constantly trying to help my clients and others understand is you
Mhm.
cannot separate them. It's like where the mind goes, the body will follow.
Mhm.
And many times, and I always put the mind first because I feel
Yes.
like our mind has more power than our body does because what we think we become. And that
Mhm.
includes our physical health as well.
Mhm.
And, you know, um, I deal a lot with people with chronic issues, and
Mhm.
many of them, they have this mindset of either something's wrong with them
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
there's no way that they're going to be able to heal from it.
Mhm.
So they never heal from it because they believe that they can't heal from
Self-fulfilling
it.
prophecy. Mhm. Right. Yeah.
But when we can change that and to
Yes.
make them understand
Yes.
that you absolutely can heal from this,
Mhm.
then things start to shift. And
Yes.
one of the ways to make that shift is doing little things like in the rituals. Okay. So, and what I mean by rituals in this case, it can be things like meditating. It's like
Mhm.
just calming your mind.
Yeah.
5 minutes a day can go a long way. You
Yes.
start seeing the stress reduce in your body, and
Yes.
you start seeing the pains in the body that are stress induced start to disappear. Things
Mhm.
like that. Journaling It's also can be a ritual. You
Mm-hmm.
start writing out
Yeah.
things, those emotions that you probably cannot express otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
They come out in the writing.
Yes.
That
Yes.
can help you heal. If you don't write, you can doodle. There are so many things that are considered rituals that people don't realize are rituals that they can do that can actually help
Mm-hmm.
themselves heal
Mm-hmm.
emotionally and physically. So what are some rituals that you feel like have very, very good healing properties that people can do to help them move to the next level, if you will?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So yes, basically all of the above, all of what you mentioned. It's important that if you, especially if you are very stressed or if you deal with some chronic issues, don't create a very complicated ritual for yourself. Make it easy, make it even short so that you stick to it. Pick some action, some habit you love to do, even if it's just sitting outside in nature or staring, gazing. Maybe you can see some birds or a tree. Actually, there are studies that in patients, in hospitalized patients, for example, if they have a tree outside and they can stare out of the window looking at the tree, they heal faster.
Mm,
So if you can include anything that has to do with nature, that is very, very, very good. So make it short, make it enjoyable, and do something that in general kind of calms you down.
yeah.
And then do it consistently. So it works wonders when you do it consistently.
Yes.
That's also some kind of a misconception that a lot of people have, because when they think when they go on the woo side, they kind of have the expectation that there is some shaman and he snaps his finger or waves the magic wand and the ritual is done once and you never need it again. That's usually not how it works. So you need to have some consistency as well. um, Talking about my for nowadays life and for very, very stressed people, for the modern lifestyle, kind of my favorite ritual is, and it's not to add something, but it's the ritual, if you will, of digital fasting. And
Mm,
that's so easy. And please, I invite you, try it just for 1 week and observe what's happening to you and to your life and how it's improving. So keep your cell phone and any other electronic device turned off for the first 2 hours of your day,
mm, okay.
and turn it off 2 hours prior to bedtime. And I promise you, this works wonders. If you can't do 2 hours because of job or whatever, at least 1 hour.
Yeah.
And I swear to you, this works wonders. So this ritual is not about adding something, it's
It's,
about not doing something.
yeah. It's
So
about
try
taking
it.
something away.
I really invite everyone to try this out and maybe give some feedback. I would be
Well,
interested.
well, there you have it. Give it a try and then see what happens. Yeah. So basically, she's like, okay, so adding something, we got to take something away, and
Yes.
and that's a very unique concept because
I
we
experience
are.
this pretty often with my clients. I mean, their agenda, their calendar, their schedule is overpacked, and
Yeah,
now even 5 minutes of journaling, for example, or whatever, meditating, doing
yeah,
nothing, adds more stress because they go, what am I going to miss out in those 5 or 10 minutes? I have to do this and that and this and that, and then the stress level even increases.
yeah, yeah. And that's part of the chaos of our modern world, and why rituals can help us to be able to navigate that.
Yeah.
So that's
Yes.
that's one of the reasons why this conversation is so important,
Yes.
because
Yeah. Yeah.
because we do live in a very chaotic world where
Mhm.
we're constantly connected. We're connected 24/7.
Yes.
And that has led to a lot of natural stress. And
Yeah.
I hesitate to say natural stress because there's nothing really natural about stress other than, stress is, the body's natural response. But
Yes.
I think we have come to a point where we think all of that's okay because we've become so used to it. It's become normalized.
We got adapted, some like the proverbial frog in the boiling water. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
It's funny you should bring that up because my last guest basically used the same analogy uh about the
Yes.
boiling the frog. It's like a
Yeah.
little at a time, little at
Yeah.
a time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's really funny. So
Yeah.
got a connected thread there. Okay. So, rituals, though, not only can it help us navigate the chaotic world and help us to be able to heal emotionally and physically, but they can also empower us and lead us to more self actualization as well. And so I'd like to explore that a little bit because rituals are often described as tools for self empowerment, and some of the ways that self empowerment, those rituals can be used for that self empowerment. It's things like rituals can help create structure in chaos. I know a lot of people who have these very analytical brains that like to have certain
Yeah.
structure. It's hard for them to function when there's so much chaos.
Yeah.
So being able to have a ritual actually introduces some structure into that chaos. So it helps that way. Um, Also, it helps build self discipline with
Mhm.
repetition, which you were talking about earlier. Consistently doing it over.
Mhm.
So that's repetition, which can help you build that self discipline. It can also help you like regain personal power depending
Mhm.
on how you use it. Because some people often feel like life is happening to us,
Yes.
and it feels like you have
And
no control,
yeah.
and so
Yeah.
rituals give you like a little bit of control over something, and I think that helps you to
Yeah.
not feel like you have to control everything. At
Yeah.
least it helps me anyway.
Yeah. So yes, and there are a lot of people that experience something where literally life happened to them. So, for example, trauma patients or PTSD patients. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what this does is when you are in this situation and when you suffer from trauma, and trauma is very individual what
Mhm.
one defines as trauma or not, um, but it has these two things in common. You either feel powerless, like
Mhm.
completely powerless, and or in victim mode. So oftentimes in therapy, rituals are used, of course, only by very highly skilled people. I must say that's important, and they
Yeah.
must be in a controlled setting with a very well prepared patient. However, with a well designed ritual that addresses the deepest level of your subconsciousness, if properly designed, it taps into your deepest potential that is usually only accessed or set off, for example, in life threatening situations,
Mhm.
but not in daily life. So, in this controlled setting, in a positive, not threatening way, unlocking this door to this deep potential that we hold. And then for the patient or the client to feel, to experience this surge of energy coming from within, not from without, from within, oftentimes is the breakthrough.
Yeah.
Because this is so empowering, feeling this potential, feeling, experiencing, I have this potential, I have this power.
Yeah.
That's true self-empowerment. So, And then sometimes healing can really happen within one session,
Wow, that's
because it
amazing.
connects people back to something they thought they have lost or they don't even have, So
Yeah,
it's literally opening up a door for you. So in the shamanic context, we are talking about soul retrieval. So and a psychology has different terms to phrase it. Like, for example, people in traumas, they disconnect oftentimes their memory or something, and that's a
yeah,
survival mechanism, of
yeah,
course. So the shamanic word for that is you lost a part of your soul, and that was stuck in this situation. So opening up the door to this inner potential is, for some people, maybe the most self-empowering act there can be. And then they can heal and they get a positive outlook and they gain back their optimism, for example, also for physical healing.
yeah.
So, and some might call it a placebo effect, but that's okay. I mean, a lot of things in medicine and therapy rely heavily on the
Yeah.
placebo effect.
That's the power of the mind. So it's like you may call it placebo, but if it works, it works. And that's the power of the mind. And
The
that's why
power
I
of
give the
the
mind so much
mind.
power because
Yeah. And
again,
you know what the beauty is? You can even amplify the power of your mind. So the way I see it, the mind, the logical mind, is kind of the navigator. You have your goal, you know what you want. So it's the navigator or the compass. And when you access the deep, deep part of this potential of those positive feelings, that's like getting wind into your sails. So
oh,
that even amplifies the power of the mind.
yeah. So there you have it. So there are so many ways that rituals can empower you and bring you to self-actualization.
Mhm.
Some rituals can also, bring you more mindfulness and awareness as well. I
Mhm.
often talk about awareness, and
Mhm.
again, that goes along with that whole mind-body connection thing. Whatever's going on in the mind is going to manifest in the body.
Mhm.
But if
Mhm.
you're not aware and you don't understand or see that the symptoms that your body is presenting to you to
Mhm.
help you know what's going on and what you need to address,
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
it's hard to do that. So being able to have that self-awareness is
Mhm.
also key. And there
Mhm.
are certain rituals that can help you foster that self-awareness so you can pay attention to what your body is trying to tell you, and you can increase that connectivity between the mind and the body, the mind, body, and spirit. That's the whole holistic viewpoint. It's mind, body, spirit. Actually, for me, it's mind, body, spirit, and soul. So soul is something different, but mind, body, and spirit,
Mhm.
they all work together. You cannot affect one without affecting the other.
Mhm.
And when you can be more in tune with yourself and more aware of the signals that your body is sending you, how it's trying to talk to you,
Mhm.
even how your subconscious is trying to talk to you,
Mhm.
it can help you just be that much healthier
Yes.
without all of the extra stuff.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
so this is again, this is a very important conversation because these are just simple little things that you can do in your daily life that can help you just live your own life more abundantly
Mhm.
overall.
Mhm.
So why wouldn't you even want to try? So I don't know. So I don't get it. So some people they just kind of just shut off because, but these are like little things, and if the word ritual turns you off, change it to something else. Change it to
Habit or
habits. Yeah, change it to routines.
routines.
It's
It's
like
true.
those are all rituals.
Yes.
It's just called a different name. Change
Mhm.
the name. Don't get stuck on the words. Just change the name. Change it
Yeah.
to something else that is positive for you and
Mhm.
empowering and informing. Just
Yes.
change the words,
Yeah.
you know? So
Yeah. You can also call it self-care or taking back your power, depending on the situation you are, and you can create rituals for all possible areas of your life or things that you want to address or get inspired.
Yeah.
Just maybe look around in your life, or watch people out in the streets and look for highly ritualized movements or whatever,
Yeah, even crossing the street is a ritual because it's like you cross the street, you look both ways. Even if the light is green, you still got to look both ways. That's a ritual in itself. And that's about protecting yourself from physical harm.
Yes,
You know,
yes, yes.
so
Yeah,
so it's just a different name. So yeah, don't
yeah,
get stuck. Don't get stuck in the word. Just
yeah.
change it to whatever empowers you.
Yes. And an easy way, for example, to include a ritual, add a ritual to your day without adding any more time or an extra topic onto your schedule. So use the time that you spend anyway, for example, brushing teeth in the morning. Yeah. You brush your teeth. So you can combine it with a ritual of positive self-talk, for example.
Yeah,
Or for whatever, being very aware of just brushing your teeth and try to consciously shut off your thoughts, because maybe you're counting the seconds or whatever, to keep your mind off track from all the agenda,
yeah.
all the things you have on your agenda, for example. So this is a way where you can put in rituals.
Yeah, that's actually a very, very good idea. I hadn't thought about, trying to shut your mind off while you're brushing your teeth. You can like literally just like instead of thinking about all the stuff that's going on, you can think
Mhm.
about how many times you're stroking, you're brushing, stuff
Yeah,
like that.
yeah,
It's kind of
yeah,
like
yeah,
I like counting breaths, when I
yeah,
do stuff because
yeah.
if I'm focused on counting my breath, I'm not focused on anything else. So sometimes it's just as simple as
Yes, and a good way. So while you're brushing teeth, you obviously do something. It's a positive way. It's you're doing something for your health, and it's self-care. So it's already a positive action that you
yeah.
do for yourself. So you can even enhance that by acknowledging yourself.
Mm, yeah.
Bless yourself,
Yeah.
or say something positive
Yeah.
silently, of course, because you can't talk when you brush teeth. But shift your inner dialogue or monologue to something, to some blessing, or
Yeah.
you look in the mirror anyway. So maybe you scan your face, and usually women, especially women, tend to, oh, another gray hair or another wrinkle. No, do it the other way around. Scan your face, your body, and bless everything. Notice
Yeah.
all the beauty inside of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As you were talking, the word gratitude came up too because I'm
Mhm.
I'm a big proponent in gratitude journaling or finding things to be
Yeah.
grateful for.
Yeah.
So while you're brushing your teeth, you can literally be like grateful that you have teeth to brush.
Mhm. For example, yes.
Yeah, it's like I have teeth to brush. I have teeth that can help me eat my food and nourish my body. I mean,
Mhm.
just like little things like that. If you're looking at your
Take
face
for
in the mirror,
granted.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, it's like,
Yeah.
instead of another gray hair, another wrinkle, it's like,
Yeah.
wow, I'm grateful. I've lived a long, healthy life. It's like you can add gratitude into that as well.
And you know what? Just recently, but I can't tell you the source now. I must look it up. But actually, there was a study done. I read about it a couple of weeks ago, that practicing gratitude about those things that we take for granted and those things you just mentioned has a way more positive effect than practicing gratitude towards, oh, I made so much money, I can buy a new car or something like
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
can see
So
that.
it's
Yeah,
the small things that we take for granted. It's the things that usually don't have to do anything with the material world, but with our health, with our well-being, and practicing gratitude and acknowledgement and blessing for that has a way bigger effect than all of the outside things.
yeah,
Because this brings us back to our purpose or meaning or higher calling, depending
yeah,
on what, because it comes from inside and it's us. It's not the material things that can be gone so quickly.
Yeah, absolutely.
And here's also where rituals come in. They connect us. So sometimes I tell my clients, especially if you do a longer ritual or longer meditation, I call it, that's a date with your soul.
I
So the
like
more
that.
often you date your own soul, the more you come aligned, the more self-empowered you feel, the more meaning and fulfillment you feel in life itself, in those day-to-day things or tasks that you do. You get a new approach to life, basically, that's way
Yeah.
more rooted in gratitude and in, some call it the higher powers. And if people are honest, everyone believes in something that
Mhm.
is more powerful than yourself,
Yeah.
and it doesn't have to be religion or something like that,
Right. Well, and even people that are religious, I mean, think about it. Prayer
It's a ritual,
is a ritual.
highly ritual. I mean, go to any church and attend a service. That's highly ritualized,
Mhm.
highly, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
A lot of shows on TV or parades or whatever. Or look at the royals in Europe.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
they call it protocol, of course, but it's ritualized. They did it the same way 1,000 years ago,
Right.
over
Yeah.
and over again.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and that's just it. When you do something over and over again, it does become ritual. So, so you can actually create a ritual out of almost anything. So,
And with every repetition, it gets more powerful. And
yeah.
it's the same as neural pathways. You do something new, you learn something new neural pathways are created.
Yeah.
And the more often you do, the stronger they get, the
Yeah.
more they get reinforced. And it's the same with rituals. And that's why the very ancient rituals are so powerful, because they have been repeated over and
Yeah.
over and over and over and over again for thousands of years.
Yeah.
And they are deeply rooted in our collective subconsciousness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm. And that's why people immediately go in some kind of resonance, positive or negative.
Hmm.
But
Well,
yeah.
yeah, I would say, and that's the impact of negative rituals too. They're hard to break because they
Yep.
become so powerful because they've been
Mhm,
done over and over again for so
mhm,
long.
mhm.
And that's kind of like trying to break a bad habit. So,
Yep, yep,
but we're talking about positives today. So, yeah.
yep, yeah.
Which actually, this segues into the next point. We were talking about, churches and, and the royals and, and the things that they do. And that's like community. So rituals have also been like a big part of community building as
Mhm,
well. I mean, when you think about it, it's like, you got churches, everybody gets together and it's a community.
mhm,
So I'd like to look at some modern adaptations
mhm,
of the whole community rituals. Okay, so I have some very interesting ideas on what we consider like a modern, community builder ritual. So obviously, I'm going to want your take on it too. Being that you're the ancient, have more of the ancient part of this, and I'd like to like try to connect the ancient with the modern, if you will.
mhm,
Now, earlier we were talking about digital and the digital detox. Now, ironically, I feel that there's all digital um, presence can also be a community building ritual as well. So when you think about when pretty much the world shut down during COVID,
mhm.
you started having people that were getting together via Zoom calls.
Yes. Mhm,
They were having like, okay, we're gonna have like Zoom happy hour, or we're gonna have
mhm,
Zoom book club, or we're gonna have
mhm.
Zoom, and people will just get on
Yes.
and just chat with each other over
Mhm,
Zoom. I was in a couple of those groups because we were all stuck inside, and it's like, we really needed that connection with
mhm.
other people. And
Yeah.
the only way we were able to do that really was
Mhm.
by
Oh,
digital connection. So I
yeah.
think used in a positive way, we can use electronics and
Mhm.
digital presence as part of
Definitely, that's the
the
blessing of modern technology. I mean, we can connect it to we can be connected to the entire world, and it's so it's always how you use the tools, because the
yes,
tools in and of itself are neutral. They are tools, and you can use it for good or for bad.
yeah,
That's
exactly.
technology. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I always like to say, take the blessing, take the good, but be sure that this is a tool that serves you, and don't let it become the master.
yeah. Obvious. So some other ones that I came up with were modern community building and ritual.
Mhm.
Things like wellness retreats. I
Mhm.
think that's kind of something that's more modern, although it probably has a little bit of ancient in there too, because people used to go sit out in the forest, together and stuff. And I think that was in its own way was kind of a wellness retreat. Get together with a group of friends and go sit out in the forest and soak
Mhm.
in nature. Um, Cultural celebrations; those are also modern.
Yes.
Rituals that build
Yeah.
community.
Yeah.
Even like things like Instagram and TikTok. I know
Mhm.
as odd as that sounds, there are a lot of people that, get on and they will like share like their daily gratitudes, or they'll share their morning routines and this,
Mhm.
that, and the
Mhm.
other. And
Mhm.
although most of the time it's like one person talking to a bunch, I think it still kind of builds like a little bit of community because it still helps people feel like they're connected. I mean,
Mhm.
that one may be a little bit of a stretch, but but then you got stuff like things that people do outdoors. It's like, oh, we're gonna go on a picnic. It's like I kind of feel like that in itself can also be kind of a ritual. It's like, well, here where I live, I'm in Texas, and although I'm not a meat eater, barbecuing is really popular here. Okay. So
Mhm.
literally there will be people, it's like, okay, I'm gonna barbecue out, and they will invite the entire neighborhood.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
And barbecue in Texas is an art form. And so everybody has a way that
Yeah.
they do it. So
And I
there's a
just wanted to
ritual.
ask you, it's probably also highly ritualized.
Yes. So it's like it's very much done this way. That is
Yes,
a ritual,
that is a ritual, definitely.
and,
Yes.
and then people come together and they eat it. And then there's always got to have specific side dishes that goes with it. That's
Yeah.
also very ritualistic because it's like, okay, this is the way it's been done through
Yeah.
the years, and so this is the way it's done. You got to have this, you got to have this, you got to have this,
Mhm.
so it's like
Mhm.
those are all rituals, but right now we're talking about community rituals, but that's community rituals. You can also think about things like baby blessings. I don't know if you guys have that
Mhm.
there. Baby blessings, for those
Mhm.
of you who are just tuning in, Patricia is my friend in Germany, so so
Mhm.
we're separated by a couple of time zones,
Yeah.
but we gotta love the modern technology that allows
Mhm.
us to,
Mhm.
reach across oceans and continents and be able to chat and
Mhm.
bring, information to people all over the place. So things like baby bless, even weddings. When you think about it, weddings, ritual. It's
Yeah.
highly ritualized. Now, some
Yes.
people break with the traditions. They call them traditions. There you go. There's another word that you can
Another
use.
word, yeah.
Tradition,
Tradition.
tradition.
Mhm.
Weddings.
Mhm. Mhm.
There's very much,
Yeah.
very traditions that go with weddings. Even when some people break those traditions, it's very ritualistic, and it, and brings people together, and there's rules that goes along with it. So
Basically, when you look around, almost everything that's connected to some kind of vow or contract is ritualized.
yeah,
The
yeah,
signature.
yeah.
And there are so many things that go into, and yeah, just look at it. So maybe make it a hobby for the next week or so. Look around and find rituals.
Right? Yeah, no kidding. Well, and that was actually what I was trying to do. I was trying to come up with different things that we see in our modern society that when you look at it and
Mhm.
analyze it, it is absolutely a
Mhm.
ritual, because I want people to understand
Mhm.
that ritual is not this woo-woo thing,
Mm-mm.
that you gotta, put on the skins or whatever, and all.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
it's everywhere,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
you can use that
Mhm.
to better yourself.
Yes.
Even like in the workplace, and I know you work with a lot of high achieving women. So
Mhm.
even in the workplace, women, well, women, men, whoever, in corporate world, there's a lot of ritual
Oh, yeah.
in the workplace as well. There is a lot of ritual. It's like you do this, you do this, you do it this way, you do it this way. You know, company policies.
Yes,
It's
it's
like
ritual.
it's
And here's the same, you knowing the rituals and following the rituals, that's a guarantee. It's a safe guidelines to navigate the hierarchies, the whatever. So everywhere you find hierarchy, the more rituals.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, so as Patricia was saying, we're gonna give you guys a challenge. It's like, why don't you just make it fun? Because it's like
It's fun.
it's fun. Make
It's
it
fun.
fun. Think about things in modern society that are actual. Oh, she thought of something. What is it?
I don't know if it's the same over there, but usually here, usually on a Saturday, it's a ritual, especially for men. Look at them, how they polish their cars.
Uh, oh yeah. Okay, well here, okay, I'll add to that. Here, it's mowing the lawn.
Yeah,
If you
yes.
think about it, you know, men or women or whoever that mows their own lawn, they usually have a set way that they do it.
Mhm,
And they will go down the line and turn
mhm,
around and come back on the
mhm,
line. And
mhm.
there's a pattern to it. That's
Yes.
another word you can use.
And
Pattern.
and sometimes hell breaks loose if this is interrupted or they can't do it at a certain time or a certain
Uh-huh.
day.
Yep. Yep. That is all ritual. See, we we told you we were going to challenge the way that you thought about ritual at the
Mhm,
very beginning.
mhm,
So I'm
mhm,
hoping that this is kind of opening you up
mhm, mhm,
to what ritual is and
mhm.
what it is not, and
Yeah,
how you can incorporate that into your own daily life
yeah,
to just be able to bring things better for
mhm,
yourself.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
not only in your environment, but
Mhm,
yourself as
mhm,
well,
mhm.
deep down inside. So,
Are you interested? Are you curious about the four components that a well-designed ritual has? The four key components?
yes, please share with us. What are those?
So, number one is a strong beginning. A strong
Okay,
beginning that impresses your subconscious mind and lets it know that something meaningful is going to happen.
okay,
And it can be anything. So, think about it like a drum roll, for example,
yeah,
whatever. The more physical senses you engage, the more impactful it is actually. So,
okay,
some people they are burning incense or like playing a drum or shaking a rattle, whatever. So, some strong beginning that
okay,
impresses your subconscious mind. The second thing is some special clothing or insignia, and
okay.
like royals, the crown, whatever, judge's row, stethoscope of a doctor. I mean,
Mhm.
remove the insignias of a doctor or the white lab coat, and patients are going, is this a doctor or is this just a janitor? You know, it's also part of a well-designed ritual. Then special language or sounds or movements or gestures. The
Okay,
blessings in the church, the crossing, it's a special movement. It's not an everyday movement, you know.
yes,
Same goes for oftentimes there is some ritualized verses or language or words. So something you
mhm.
do not use every day. And fourth, of course, is then the strong and impressing ending that lets your subconscious mind know now it's over. You
Okay.
know. So, and it's easy. And with this in mind, you might identify tons of rituals around you.
Well, there you have it. The keys to what did you call it? Keys to successful ritual. A good.
just for the four key components basically of well-designed rituals.
Well-designed ritual. Okay, there you
So
go.
if you, for example, if you want to design a ritual for yourself and you incorporate those four key components, that's almost a guarantee that your ritual is going to be very strong.
Okay, well, there you
Mhm.
have it. Write
Mhm.
that down. Use it.
And then
Right?
repetition, of course.
Of course, consistency is key. Yes.
Yeah.
So, for those of you who are new to rituals, how can you begin incorporating meaningful practices into your daily life? So, Patricia just shared with you four components. So, let's talk about some additional examples on how you can incorporate this into your daily life. So, one of my favorites start off with is morning intention setting.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you get up, you set an intention for the day. Okay. That gives you the basis for the rest of your day. Okay.
Yes.
It doesn't matter what the intention is. It can be an intention of something you want to get done, goal, like a goal oriented intention. It could be how you want to feel. It's like, so today I choose patience and joy. So you're
Mhm.
going to go about your day. If you set that intention of having patience and joy, you'll be more prone to try to show more patience throughout the day when things come to you that would tend to make you upset. Or so setting that intention is one of the things that you can do. Or you can just choose something that you're going to focus on for the day. That's not necessarily a goal, but something that you want to focus on. So I want to focus on being happier, or I want to focus on drinking more water. I think everybody should focus on that one because I think most people don't drink enough water as it is. But
Mhm.
but set an intention for the day. um, Gratitude practice is another way that
Mhm.
you can integrate and incorporate rituals into your daily life.
Mhm.
Some countries even do like a tea ritual,
Mhm.
tea or coffee ritual.
Mhm.
If you like tea, set your intention for the tea. As a matter of fact, do you know Michelle Greenwell? She's one of my other recurring guests.
Mhm.
She actually has a whole series of teas that she creates. It's called Tea with Intention.
Oh, that.
And each of her teas that she has, like, the label has like some um some information on setting an intention for drinking that tea.
Mm.
Okay. So,
That's
which I find is very interesting. I mean, you can do this with any kind of tea, but if you just kind of turn that into something too, it's like, okay, I'm going to drink this tea. What do I want to get out of drinking this tea? Is it for relaxation or whatever? And because you're going to have to put the tea in the depending on how you make your tea. So if you have loose tea, you got to put your tea in the teapot. You have to boil the water. You have to pour the water over it. You have to let it steep for a certain amount of time. Then you have to pour it in the cup.
Mhm.
Each of that can be a piece of the ritual, and with each step, you can have an intention associated with that step. So you're taking basic tea, but you're turning it into something beneficial for you.
And meaningful. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
And here we are again. This is usually stuff we take for granted. Oh, I just have some tea, some coffee because we take it for granted.
yeah,
But
yeah.
it's not for granted,
Yeah, exactly.
and add more meaning or connect it to meaning.
Well, and you think about, I don't know about all of Europe, but I know, like, in the UK, it's
Mm.
like they have afternoon tea.
Yes.
And that in itself is also a ritual. It's like they take the moment to have the tea, they have the sweets with it, and it's a time for them to have some self-care, or if
Yeah.
they're meeting with someone else, to connect with
Yes.
community with someone else.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
mean, so there are so many things that you can use
Mhm.
to integrate that into your daily life to increase, you know, the abundance in your life. And abundance isn't always about finances. So I know I've
No.
used that word a couple of times during this, but abundance isn't always about finances. For some people it is, but abundant life is about living life fully, whatever that means for you. So
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
And rituals are one of those things that can help you do that. So, then there's like the evening wind down, mindful walk. You can even use like just walking, as part of that. Breath
Mhm.
work and meditation. That's also one of my favorites. I like counting breaths.
Yes.
Box breathing is one of my favorites.
Mhm.
There
Yes.
are other counting breath, types of
Mhm.
things you can do
Mhm.
too, and it really kind of helps you get in yourself. And then, there is what I like to call intentional technology use.
Mhm.
We've already talked about the whole detoxing, and
Digital therapy.
there's nothing wrong with technology when used,
No, no, not at all.
properly. So maybe you need to start setting intention about your technology
Yes. Yeah.
use instead of doom strolling, what they call doom strolling.
Mhm.
You can say, okay, you know what? I am going to check my social media and I'm only going to spend like 5 or 10 minutes,
Mhm.
scrolling, because I use social media to keep track, keep up with my friends that live elsewhere, because most of my friends live like other countries, other cities,
Mhm.
other
Yeah,
states.
same here. Mhm.
But we have a tendency to just kind of just sit there and keep strolling, keep scrolling, keep scrolling,
Mhm.
keep scrolling, and then we
Mhm.
don't get anything else done, and then we just lost all this time. So set
Mhm.
an intention about what you're going to use your
Mhm.
technology for and how that's going to be a positive for you.
Yes. Yeah. Again, give it connected to meaning and
Yeah,
not meaningless scrolling, for example, that robs you of your time.
yeah.
Mhm.
So I had made a list. I have a bunch of others, but I'm going to let you kind of come in and offer some ways to integrate as well.
Mhm. Mhm. Well, as we're talking about this daily date with your soul, like every
Yeah,
single day, no matter how long, it's just 5 minutes or so, that's totally fine. And also, you already mentioned we have two sweet spots. One is immediately after waking up, and one is immediately
mhm,
after before we are falling asleep. So those two time slots, they are so powerful to just check in with yourself.
yeah,
Yes. And I also love the setting intentions. I have this quick, quick and easy for the morning and for the evening. So you go through the four basic levels: the physical, the emotional, the mental or intellectual, and then the soul level. And you just give yourself a word, for example. So for me, it's power, meaning physical health,
yeah,
power, that's for the physical, for the body. So power, then love for the emotions, then awareness for the mind, and
yeah,
then joy for the soul. So just closing your eyes or when you wake up and just repeating those four words and feeling them resonate inside of your body.
yeah,
It's a short ritual, can be done in less than 60 seconds, for
yeah.
example.
Yeah, you've shared that with me before, and I got to tell you, I've been utilizing that, and I love that the letters um, spell play.
Yes,
And
just
and that's yeah.
there would be the typo at the end, but it's still it's play.
Yeah, and that's how I remember it, and I do utilize that,
Yes.
it's a really good way to just, yeah, to create
Uh-huh.
some intention and just kind of, yeah, do the check in and
The
just
check-in and
just hit every part of yourself
yeah.
in less than 60 seconds, and it's so easy.
Yes.
Ritual does not have to be like this complicated,
Mm-mm.
drawn out thing. It can be something so simple as reciting some words or
Mhm.
counting your breath
Mhm.
or just
Or
being
making
thankful.
some intentional gestures,
Yeah,
one
yeah.
part, one key component of a ritual. So you find this oftentimes in sports. So when they score a goal and the fists go up, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. Or some athletes, they have their rituals, like they, for example, touch their bodies or the way they tie their shoes before a competition,
yeah, yeah,
whatever. So yeah, there is also something where you can put a ritual, the way you dress yourself in the
yeah,
morning with
yeah,
intention, for example.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah. Well, we are coming to the end of our time. We've had a very great conversation, I
Mhm.
believe. Thank you,
Yes, I
Patricia,
love it. Thank you so
for
much.
your input. I
Mhm.
love everything that you added here. So
Thank
it's important for us to understand that rituals are powerful tools for grounding, for healing, for
you.
empowerment and connection.
Mhm.
They can be simple yet deeply meaningful and tailored specifically to each individual. Okay. So you
Mhm.
don't have to do the same ritual that someone else does.
Mhm.
As we talked about, do something that feels good for you, something that you like, and then build on it. Okay.
Yes.
But then you also need to make sure you keep doing it so it's consistent.
Mhm.
And that's what's going to build that routine, if you will. Don't
Mhm.
get stuck in the word ritual, change it to something else. If you don't like the word ritual,
Yes.
change it to something else, because these are tools that can be very powerful in helping you be the best that you can be. So
Mhm.
before I sign off, I'm
Mhm.
going to ask Patricia if she has anything that she would like to leave us with, any last words that you would like to add.
Mhm. What came to my mind spontaneously was just do it. And make it easy, make it joyful, just do it, and maybe have some fun this week, counting rituals that you see outside, Mhm.
Well, if you watch this later, I would like to ask you guys to look around and see where you see some rituals. Comment, let us know where you see some rituals.
Mhm.
Or if you learned something new that you would like to integrate into your own life that we've shared with you that you want to make into your own ritual, we'd like to hear that too. So, yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, anyway, well, that is it for today's show. Please join us again. We will be right here again. I'll be here with Patricia again. Um, on the fourth Friday of
Mhm.
next month. But you can
Yeah.
also catch all of the other shows, and you can watch the replays and all of that and see all the other things that we've talked about. And
Mhm.
until next time, remember, wellness isn't a destination, it's your daily journey.
Mhm.
Bye for now. See you later.
Mhm. Bye-bye.
This episode is brought to you by Living Naturally for Life and Women Unlimited International. Comment, like, subscribe.